quality of good leader, the nation must hear the budget by any means.
I'd like to finish my speech. I'm very near the end. I hope somebody will film this.
One second. We have any media here? Any media is here? Hold on, 1 second. You could just need some media. Oh, you're the cleaner. Oh.
Jamaica's iconic global track superstar, the Honorable Usain Bolt, and many other innocent investors were carried down in the scandalous SSL fiasco. And we can't hear anything about charges being brought against the culprit. I have been told that the DPP's office is dragging their feet when there are a number of people that the Financial Investigations Division are seeking to bring charges against. In fact, in August last year, the Gleaner carried a report that from the FID that there were several persons that they were intending to move against with charges. That report is no longer on the Gleaner website, but I'm told that the DPP's office is dragging their feet on this. The Kroll forensic report, which has cost taxpayers millions of dollars, was delivered to the point I was making when the Prime Minister chose to walk out and was left the Parliament without a quorum. I think it's the first time this has ever happened in independent Jamaica. That in a budget speech, the opposition has been denied the opportunity to finish their presentation. And here I am assembled on Duke Street. I was near the end anyway, but there were some important points that need to be made. And I'm going to continue. Yes. The point I made when they walked out was this. When the former Speaker was forced to resign as a result of an Integrity Commission investigation, the move to replace her with the wife of the Prime Minister, so that the head of Parliament is now the spouse of the head of government, does not sit well with the tradition that the Speaker must act independently of the government of the day. That is a fundamental principle of the Westminster system of democracy. And it is protected in a number of ways. For example, in the United Kingdom, nobody runs against the Speaker in an election. They make sure the...
Now it's being described as an absurd and unforced error. The opposition says the government's unprecedented walkout has caused irreparable damage to the budget debate tradition in Jamaica. Now, Giovanni Dennis has the latest from a hastily called press briefing at the office of the opposition leader. Giovanni, what can you tell us?
Well, Herman, we're just coming back from the office of the opposition leader, and what he said, what Mark Golding told journalists, was that he said nothing out of line in his presentation when he raised concern about the wife of the Prime Minister being the Parliament's umpire.
For the first time, the government in Parliament walked out during a budget debate and prevented the leader of the opposition from completing his presentation, denying the Parliament of a quorum, so the Speaker had no choice but to end the proceedings. And I, as leader of the opposition, was unable to finish my presentation. I didn't say anything offensive about anybody. I made a point of principle, which is that it doesn't sit well with the tradition in our parliamentary system, which requires the Speaker of the House to be independent of the government, for the wife of the Prime Minister, who's the head of government, to be the Speaker, which is effectively the head of Parliament. And these concerns are not just my concerns. Many Jamaicans feel that way. And in fact, the international community also has concerns about it, because it's really a very unusual situation. And indeed, the Prime Minister, who in an emotional fit stood up and walked out and precipitated the situation which brought the proceedings to an end, really himself reinforced the validity of the point I was making.
No, Mr. Golding says the opposition always had concerns about the appointment, but given the performance of Mrs. Holness since her ascension to the House Speaker, he felt compelled to speak.
Mrs. Holness's conduct has given rise to concerns by not tabling the reports of the Auditor General on a timely basis as they arrive. There are reports which have been, I'm told, reached Parliament from January, which have 2 Auditor General performance audit reports that have not been tabled. By determining that certain reports of the Integrity Commission must be sent to an oversight committee within Parliament which is dominated by the government side and chaired by the government side, before those reports are tabled and made public. These are issues of grave concern.
Now, Mr. Golding insisted that the Prime Minister got wind of what he was about to raise in his presentation. He said he was about to raise concern about the illicit 6 MPs, well, who he called the illicit 6 MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission, as well as concern about the Prime Minister's statutory declarations not being certified by the Integrity Commission for multiple years.
He has failed to have his statutory declaration certified, and that statutory declaration lists his assets, his liabilities and his income, and for successive years the Integrity Commission has not certified and published a summary of his declaration. That is an untenable situation for Jamaica. And I was, in my speech, the next point I was going to make was to say, if I were in his position, I would take away myself and replace myself with somebody else who is not compromised. The Prime Minister knew that was what was coming next. He couldn't face the heat, so he decided to walk out. First time ever in the history of Jamaica, the government ends the budget presentation of the leader of the opposition by pulling out their members.
Now, here's the concern, Herman, as well. On September 26 last year, a leader of opposition business, Philip Paulwell, he stood in Parliament and he supported Juliet Holness becoming the House Speaker. And so journalists put that issue to the opposition today, including Mr. Paulwell himself, who was at the press conference to say, wait a minute, a lot of people are saying, why are you now raising this? It seems a bit hypocritical. This is what they had to say.
Since independence, every elected government has been able to secure the speaker that that elected government has put forward. It has never happened that an opposition objects to the speaker proposed. And we are fulfilling a tradition. It has happened when we are a government, and I have been a long-standing member of the Parliament, and it will, I believe, continue to happen, that the formality of electing a speaker is just that. The government, as the majority player in the Parliament, can elect whoever it wishes. It is the tradition of the opposition to second it. And in fact, a vote was taken and it was passed unanimously.
Yeah.
But surely, if it's a matter of principle that you're objecting on, you could have opposed her appointment, which you didn't. Which is why I'm asking you, opposition leader, did Mr. Paulwell make the wrong move in not objecting to the appointment of Mrs. Holness as House Speaker on September 26 last year?
I'm not sitting in judgment of the leader of opposition business. He was put in a position with no prior consultation. We weren't told what was happening. He came to Parliament. I wasn't there. And he was presented with a script by the clerk and told this is a tradition. And the tradition is that the opposition seconds the motion.
Of course, Herman, the opposition leader, Mark Golding, also raised the other issues at that hastily called press briefing. And of course, we will have more from that press briefing in subsequent newscasts.
All right, thanks, Giovanni. And of course, we'll be watching it to see exactly how the budget presentation, the budget debate unfolds for the rest of this week.
No issues are going to be dealt with. And, Madam Speaker, in those conversations, they have to make decisions on the fly. They have to agree on the fly, whether it's behind here or it's on the phone. Madam Speaker, the leader of opposition in the House has been in this House for 30 years, including the Senate. 30 years. We have to be able to rely on his word as leader of opposition business. But how can we rely on what he says when the opposition leader forces flip-flop, unprincipled behavior? And he emasculates and undermines his own colleagues, Madam Speaker. It may not be good for their party, but it's certainly not good for Jamaica.
Into office in 2012, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller leveraged her many years of hard-earned political capital and laid it on the line. To lobby the international financial community to give Jamaica another chance. This was only possible because of the sacrifices of Jamaican people who were willing to walk the walk because they trusted her not to sell them out. That is what saved our country from the ruin that the previous government had brought us to. We pulled the country out of the mire of fiscal irresponsibility. With Dr. Peter Phillips as Finance Minister and Portia Simpson-Miller as Prime Minister, the PNP administration of 2012 to 2016 steadfastly prepared the ground in which the tree of fiscal responsibility began to grow in Jamaica. We got the country's public finances back on track. We transformed the tax system. We implemented other critical structural reforms along the journey of getting our national debt under control. And in 2016, the JLP inherited that tree with its roots firmly already in place and already bearing the fruit of fiscal stability. This is the foundation of the 12 years of economic stability that Jamaica has benefited from up to today. So we taught you about fiscal responsibility on which the economic stability is built. In that period, I was tasked with responsibility for delivering the extensive legislation that was required to achieve that durable fiscal stability. A modernized revenue system and the other basic building blocks of economic stability. Yes, the same tree of economic stability you are now shading under. We nurtured its early growth. We made sure there could be no turning back. We led the way on fiscal responsibility. And you on the other side, then on this side, mocked us whilst we were planting and nurturing that tree of fiscal responsibility. All you do is pass IMF tests, you said over and over. Do you forget? So don't lecture us on fiscal responsibility and economic stability. No Sankey, no sing so. We took the hard decisions and implemented them. You inherited a situation that we had fixed here in Jamaica. And you have spent 8 years leveraging that hard work that we put in and the fiscal responsibility that we left. And that is the truth.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Remember, if you're watching me for the first time, kindly hit the subscribe button, like, comment and share. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much. So guys, I'm your host Larry, and today I have this I hope you've watched that video about the 2024 and 2025 budget that was discussed, a debate in Jamaica. So we've heard, or rather we've saw claims that the PM walked out before the opposition, Mark Golding, could finish his presentation. Well, it has stirred a lot of reactions online, and you've actually seen how the citizens of Jamaica and other members of parliament had to react to that. So for first, we know there's the illicit seats, the Jamaicans' illicit seats that are being investigated over some corrupt activities, some dark activities that they have been carrying out in Jamaica for a long time. Now, the claims are that the PM was really avoiding that story of the illicit sweets. The PM was really, or rather the PM and his members, they are totally avoiding to talk about that story. The question is, could they be involved into that? Could they be, or rather, could the illicit 6 members be among the members of, or rather the members below the PM, who is Andrew Holness? So I'll leave that up to you to discuss and tell me what you think. we've heard that the opposition, Mark Golding, said that he did not say anything wrong. He did not say anything provocative. He did not say anything that could make the PM to walk out. Which leaves us with these rather people thinking that Mark Golding was speaking the truth and he was firing facts straight to the PM, who is Andrew Holness. Now, the PM took to the streets, or rather took to the public, that Mark Golding was out of line. So guys, if somebody is out of line, do you walk out or do you stand up and confront that person? Now you tell me that. So despite the PM walking out before Mark Golding could finish his presentation, that didn't deny Mark Golding a chance to finish his presentation. Why am I saying that? The reason why I'm saying that, it's because Mark Golding took his people, his members, to the streets and finished his presentation to the citizens on the streets. And now a lot of people have said that's a true definition of a leader, or rather a difference between a leader and a politician. In the video, we've seen Mark Golding interact freely with the people. People are proudly cheering up for him. Well, that was really a bold thing to do, or rather bold step to make by Mark Golding. But Mark Golding really took to the streets, presented his representation that was cut short in the debate in the Parliament, and people really applauded him for that. He has received a lot of praises for that. Others claiming that has shown some leadership characters in him. And I know Jamaicans, as we are approaching the election period, I want you to know you should elect a leader who has visions for your country, who has good visions for the well-being of the Jamaicans, who has good visions for the upcoming generations. Don't just vote in a politician. Most of us make this mistake of not, or rather assuming that the politicians can be leaders. Well, I'll leave that up to you. We need a peaceful elections. We need a peaceful country. So guys, I'm your host Larry. Remember, if you're watching me for the first time, kindly hit the subscribe button, the like, comment and share. Your support is highly appreciated. I'm your host Larry, and until we meet again, peace out.